Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast special edition series where I go over every men's college basketball conference tournament. We are past the halfway point as this is the 17th of 32 shows. We've done the NEC, the Atlantic Sun, Horizon, Patriot, Big South, OVC, MVC, Sunbelt, West Coast, SoCon, CAA Summit, America East, ACC, Big West, and Conference USA. And now it is the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, which is the MAAC, the other MAAC, as people like to call it, because people think the Mid-American is the actual MAAC. So this is known as the other MAAC. As this tournament's going to be held at the Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Should be a fun tournament. I'm going to go through the seeds right now. Your 1 seed is Iona, as they've been the dominant team in this conference pretty much since Rick Pitino has arrived. 25-6 on the year, 17-3 in conference play. Your 2 seed is St. Peter's, 16-11 on the year, 14-6 in conference play. Your 3 seed is Siena, 15-13 on the year, 12-8 in conference play. Your 4 seed is Monmouth, 19-12 on the year, 11-9 in conference play. Your 5 seed is Niagara, 14-15 on the year, 9-11 in conference play. Your 6 seed is Marist, 14-15 on the year, 9-11 in conference play. Your 7 seed is Fairfield, 14-17 on the year, 8-12 in conference play. Your 8 seed is Manhattan, 15-14 on the year, 8-12 in conference play. Your 9 seed is Ryder, 12-18 on the year, 8-12 in conference play. Your 10 seed is Canisius, 11-20 on the year, and 7-13 in conference play. And Canisius, 12-16 on the year, 7-13 in conference play. This tournament will begin on Tuesday, March 8th with the first round, as you have Ryder and Manhattan. Ryder, I felt, underachieved this season. 4 guys in double-digit points per game, led by Dwight Murray Jr. 12.6, and Demenisho Vaughn at 12.5 per game. My projection here, or I'm sorry, I have to do Manhattan. Started off fine, but they kind of fell off. This was a contender in this conference, honestly, like 7-8 years ago under Steve Masiello. I'm surprised he's still there, amazingly enough. They have a really good scorer, though, in Jose Perez at 18.8 per game. My projection here is Ryder by 1 3/8 total of 140. So therefore, I have Ryder advancing to the quarterfinals. Your second of 3 first-round games, 10 seed Canisius, 7 seed Fairfield. Canisius, they have 3 guys in double-digit points per game. Armand Harriet at 11.3, and then they also have Jordan Henderson at 11.1 and Malik Green at 11 per game. Fairfield, they have 2 guys in double figures per game. Benning at 10.7 and Cook at 10.3 and averages 8.3 boards per game as well. Projection here is Fairfield 7.25, total 136 and 7/10. I just think they're better and deeper, so I'm going to go Fairfield to move on. And the last of 3 first-round games, 11 seed Canisius and 6 seed Marist. Canisius kind of falling apart in the latter half of the year. They have a good scorer, though, in Matt Belanc at 14.5 per game. Marist has been kind of fallen off a little bit at the end there, but they have 2 guys in double figures per game. In Jayo Atuka at 15.5 and Ricardo Wright at 13.6. My projection is Marist by 5 1/8, total 140 and 7/10, so therefore I have Marist advancing. All right, quarterfinals. 3 of these 4 games do not have totals because I do not project future totals. As I've stated time in and time again during the series. Your first of 4 quarterfinal games, Wednesday, March 9th. 9 seed Ryder, 1 seed Iona. Iona, like I said, has been the dominant team since Rick Pitino arrived in this conference. 3 guys averaging double figures per game, led by Tyson and Julie at 14.5 per game. My projection is Iona by 12. They're just flat out better than Ryder. I have them advancing. The second of 4 quarterfinal games and the second of 2 on March 9th. 7 seed Fairfield, 2 seed St. Peter's. St. Peter's has turned it on in the second half of conference play after a slowish start. 2 guys averaging double figures per game. Darrell Banks the third at 11.2 and Casey Nefedo at 10.3. Projection St. Peter's by 6 and 5/8, so therefore I have St. Peter's advancing. Thursday, March 10th, quarterfinals continue with 2 more games. Third of 4 quarterfinal games, 6 seed Marist, 3 seed Siena. Siena, I felt, has overachieved this year. 3 guys averaging double figures a game, led by Colby Rogers at 14.1 points per game. Projection here, though, Marist by 1.25. Marist is actually pretty solid. I have the best player on the court in this game with Akuta, so I'm going to go with Marist to advance as a 1.25 favorite over Siena. I have as an upset from a seeding perspective there. And the last of 4 quarterfinal games in the second of 2 on March 10th. 5 seed Niagara, 4 seed Monmouth. This is the one I have a total for because these 2 teams aren't playing in the first round. Niagara has an amazing scorer on their team in Marcus Hammond at 18.1 per game. Monmouth, still a perennial team. King Rice is still there. King Rice and Steve Masiello of Monmouth and Manhattan, respectively, have both been there 11 years, which is amazing. I remember when both of those guys first started coaching. But yeah, King Rice is a really good coach. 3 guys averaging double figures per game, led by George Pappas at 15.3 points per game. And it's funny because he's from Jersey City, New Jersey, which is where St. Peter's plays. So he chose Monmouth over St. Peter's, amazingly enough. My projection here is Monmouth by 10 total, 134 and 3/5. So therefore, I have Monmouth advancing to the semis. First of 2 semifinal games on Friday night, March 11th on ESPN News. 4 seed Monmouth, 1 seed Iona from Boardwalk Hall. Projection Iona by 6.5. I think Iona's better. They have the better coach in Rick Pitino. I love King Rice. I think he's a good coach for Monmouth. He'll be there a while. A lot of support in that school. I think that Pappas is a really good scorer and player, but I just think that Iona's deeper, led by Jolie. And I think Rick Pitino is going to find the way. So Iona 6.5 is the projection. I thought Iona advancing. In the second of 2 semifinal games on Friday, March 12th or March 11th on ESPN News. 6 seed Marist, 2 seed St. Peter's. 2 really awesome teams here. Marist really isn't awesome. St. Peter's is awesome. Matuga, I think, might go point to point with Banks and Nefedo of St. Peter's. I just think St. Peter's is deeper. St. Peter's has a good coach in Shaheen Holloway. I have St. Peter's projected by 4 and 7/8, so therefore I have St. Peter's advancing to the championship, which will take place on Saturday, March 12th at 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. 2 seed St. Peter's, 1 seed Iona from Boardwalk Hall. If Monmouth upsets Iona then in the semis, then we'd have an all-New Jersey final in New Jersey in AC, which would be pretty cool. But we have St. Peter's, Iona. We have Rick Pitino against St. Peter's, which is pretty neat. I just think that Jolly's the best player on the court in this game. Iona's the better team, the more experienced team. I have them projected as a 6.25 point favorite. They were in the tournament a year ago. They could have potentially actually, no, they wouldn't have been in play for it the COVID year. St. Peter's would have been in play for it the COVID year. But I think that Iona's better, and I think they'll win the 2022 Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament. And do I think Iona has a chance at it at large? Probably not. Monmouth in 2016, we all know, lost to Iona in the conference championship game and didn't get an at large and were rewarded an NIT. So I don't think that Iona has a chance at getting an at large. You have to be truly special for a mid-major or a lower major to be an at large, like Wichita State from 2014, that kind of stuff. I mean, like St. Mary's, I think, has gained respect because of being in Gonzaga's conference. And same for BYU or whomever will be a strong NCAA tournament-worthy team from the West Coast Conference, especially BYU and Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's is Northeast Conference. But I don't see any odds for the Metro Atlantic tournament on FanDuel. I'm going to check DraftKings real quick. It's probably because there's 3 teams from New Jersey in there, and Ryder, Monmouth, and St. Peter's. So that's the case for that tournament not having odds. I'm just going to double check and see if DraftKings has them. Doesn't look like it. That's all right. But I do think Iona could potentially run away with this because Iona is really good. So there you have it for the MAAC MAAC. Next up will be 18 of 32 shows, which will be the WAC conference.